Welcome to another episode of Horrible History. I'm in Two Guns, Arizona in the Apache Death Cave, where 42 Apache raiders had their lives taken for Navajo retribution. Today, we're exploring one of the most notorious sites in Arizona's haunted history, the Apache Death Cave. Hidden off an old stretch of Route 66, this place has been called cursed, haunted, and even evil. In 1878, more than 40 men died in that cave, trapped, burned, and buried in the Arizona desert. Now, the cave sits silent and abandoned, much like the failed businesses that still remain in ruins above. I'll tell you the full horrible history of this cave once we get in there, so let's not waste any time and let's go to the Apache Death Cave. Located about 30 minutes east of Flagstaff, the Apache Death Cave is out in the remote Arizona desert. Just off the freeway, the sign for Two Guns will guide you as the abandoned gas station emerges on the horizon. The hollowed out gas station sits littered with graffiti. I did a quick walkthrough of the failed business and stayed vigilant in case I encountered anything dangerous. I thought maybe there might be some spiders or snakes or something in there, but I just walked cautiously and went through the whole building. It looks like it's a pretty popular hangout with all the graffiti in there. It was pretty empty, much like the rest of the grounds. The whole area sat quiet underneath the hot Arizona sun. The greenery surrounded the dried up gorge where the death cave must have been. I saw the Canyon Diablo Bridge off in the distance and decided to walk and explore all of the grounds. There's a lot of lore surrounding bridges as a portal or passage to the other side. Perhaps some of the spirits from the Apache Death Cave were trapped at this point, unable to cross over to the other side. The bridge was much higher than I thought it was, and I didn't feel alone as I walked over it. I was ready to explore this forgotten town and find the Apache Death Cave. It wasn't the easiest walking around this entire area underneath the hot Arizona sun, and there wasn't really any markers or guidance on where these sites sat. I kinda had to explore and just figure it out myself. Barren, abandoned, forgotten. The whole area of Two Guns sat empty and quiet. The cave entrance was tucked underneath a fallen walkway with a small building lying in ruins above it. I stumbled upon the cave and I was ready to enter. Alright, let's see what this cave is all about. Doesn't look like it's the easiest to get down into. You gotta crouch down pretty low over here. Then it opens up a little bit right there. After crouching through the entrance to the cave, the walkway is a little difficult with many large rocks in the path to the other chambers. Alright, so this is like one of the first entrances to the cavern. There's some little Native American dolls up there. Hope they're here to protect this space. Sorry if it's a little shaky. I'm trying to walk over all these rocks as I take you guys in. It's not the easiest to step through. I heard there were some rooms that you could stand up in, and I'm pretty tall, so it's not the easiest, but I'm here in Two Guns, Arizona. And in this area, you have a lot of Native American tribes from the Hopi, Navajo, the Apache, the Hualapai. They're all kind of congregated in this area. So there was a lot of tribal infighting. In 1878,
one of the Navajo settlements was attacked by an Apache raiding group. And in that raid, they took everything and they were slaughtering people, and they took 3 young girls. So the Navajo, in response, they set out a group of warriors. Some say it was 25, could be more, could be less, and they went looking for these Apache raiders. The Navajo warriors kept tracking this Apache group, and the trail went cold around the Little Colorado River tributary. It's kind of like where we are right now. It's in this little gorge, you can follow the water, but the trail went cold and they couldn't find him. A few weeks later, another Navajo group was attacked by another group of raiders. So this made the Navajo think, these raiders haven't left. So they went looking for them again. And when they thought all hope was lost, they heard voices and they felt warm air coming out of this cave right here. They said it was coming out of the earth. And so they looked at it and they said, this must be the group that attacked our people. So they started piling all of this sagebrush and wood at the entrance, and they lit a big fire. The Apache raiders, they didn't know what to do. They saw all the smoke billowing in, so they were trying to use all of their water to put out this fire. And when they ran out of water, they actually slit the throats of their horses and used their blood and their bodies to try to put out this fire. But they couldn't do it. So as smoke filled this cavern and there was no way of escape, the Navajo just watched the exit, and as they were coming out, they would kill whoever stepped outside of this cave. And then they say there was one last Apache raider, and he was pleading for his life. And the Navajo said, okay, we will trade goods for your life, but do you have those 3 girls that you took in one of your raids? And he told them that those girls had been tortured and killed. And so for that, they piled more wood on the entrance, and they burned and they killed everybody in here. Now, some people say that this place is cursed because of all those lives that were lost, and that the Apache put a curse on here, and this cave was never used again. Now, I guess tourists come and they look through here, and has some terrible history attached to it of what happened and the tragedy of those lives lost in this cave. Fast forward a little bit, Earl and Louise Cundiff bought this land, about 320 acres in 1922. And they built a restaurant and a gift shop and a gas station all right here so people could stop and take a break and get some food. During the same time period, they met this man, Harry Miller, also known as Chief Crazy Thunder. I don't know where he came up with that name, but this was his name. He's actually the one who told the tale of the Apache Death Cave. And he used it as a tourist attraction, and they say he desecrated this land. He was selling Native American remains. He was selling any artifacts that were still left here. Nobody knows if it was even true. And then in a lease dispute with Earl, he shot and killed him in 1926. And he was acquitted of that murder, claiming it was self-defense. So some say that it's still cursed, but many of these businesses and things that have tried to be established here have failed. And a lot of it is due to them building I-40 and Route 66, but some claim that this land is still haunted and cursed. Now nearby you have the Navajo Nation and you have the Fort Apache Reservation, so there's still a lot of Native American lore and energy in this place. But I'm going to be exploring this cave a little bit more. It seems a little small to hold that many people and their horses, so I'm going to take a look in here, and the air seems very heavy. You can kind of hear that I'm a little out of breath, and I don't know why. The air is very damp. It's warmer outside. I think I got a little sunburn, but it's a little warmer outside, but down here it's cool and damp. So I'm gonna take a look around this cave and I'm gonna show you guys what I find. All right, let's go look. All right, let's take a walk through this cave and see how much further it goes. It's very, it's a little difficult trying to get in here. It looks like somebody tried to build like a way in, but a lot of that wood is falling apart. You can probably hear my voices echoing a little more. This is towards the back of the cave. Now it would seem like it would be very uncomfortable to be trying to walk through here and have your horses and men and all that stuff crammed in here. It looks like, yeah, back there. I don't think there's anything else in there. That was pretty much all there was to the cave. There are really only two main chambers in the back of the cave until it narrows to a point that a person could not pass through. I just want to show you guys everything that's in this little cave. It's not the easiest to navigate. See, and it goes up pretty high. I feel outside air coming in too. I couldn't imagine all these people being crammed in this tight space. The writing on the walls feels like a layer of noise, covering up the truth like the story was buried, and the death cave turned into a roadside ghost show. There was no evidence of the people or their struggle in that cave. Looks like they put a giant staple right here to hold this opening, because it goes up pretty high and there's a lot of rocks that don't look the most stable. This is mainly all that's in here. My exploration of the cave was complete, and it was time to make it back to the surface. Oh man, the cave is a little tighter than I thought it would be. It's really crazy how all those people can be crammed down in such small quarters. Well, I'm glad that I got to go in there and explore the cave and show you guys what happened to those Apache raiders down here. And that big fire was probably started right around this area. Whew. All right, that's the Apache Death Cave here in Two Guns, Arizona. If you get a chance, go ahead and explore the cave, leave it how you found it. Be careful around some of these structures, they're not stable. Just be careful not to disturb anything and leave it how you left it.
Well, I'm not dead, but I'm glad to be out of that cave and out of the desert. It felt really weird down there. I don't know what it was. I wasn't really afraid of finding like some remains or artifacts or anything down there. It wasn't the easiest location to find and explore, and maybe it shouldn't be. It reminded me a lot of the cave that I went into in Lovelock. Maybe it was because of the native intertribal warfare and the fire at the entrance to the cave. They just shared a lot of similarities, and they had that same weight in the air. I don't know, it felt very heavy in there. In Lovelock, I was really afraid that I was going to run into like one of the old giants or something out there, but here at the Apache Death Cave, I was more afraid of stepping on a snake or running into some kind of predator or something out there. I wasn't really afraid of finding like remains or anything strange down there. Maybe a spirit, I don't know. Another thing that was very strange was when I was leaving the Apache Death Cave in the middle of the night, on the side of the road, I saw a single elk standing, and it was too late for them to usually be out, but he was just standing staring as I drove by. And in Lovelock, when I was leaving that cave, as I drove down the road back to my hotel, out in the field, I saw a single antelope just standing and staring. I don't know if this was like a omen or some kind of protective spirit watching me leave these locations, but it just felt very eerie and kind of spiritual. Whether you believe in ghosts, spirits, or curses, the Apache Death Cave sits as a reminder of the horrible history of the Wild West. If you liked the video, hit the like and subscribe. If you didn't, thank you so much for watching this long. Let me know in the comments if you think the land around this cave is cursed by native spirits. Is this a type of lasting revenge? Or is this land protected now? Either way, the Apache Death Cave still breathes beneath the Arizona desert. This has been the Apache Death Cave on horrible history and a little bit of ghosts and stuff.